What's up, golf addicts? Welcome to DraftKings After Dark. I am your host, Pat Perry. Excited to be with you here for the RBC Canadian Open. It's going to be a fantastic week. And you know what? I don't have my co-host DB with me. We're getting into the summer. It's vacation time, and DB is enjoying a fantastic family vacation. Hopefully having lots of drinks and just getting refreshed before we have the U.S. Open next week. So we are in Canada for the RBC Canadian Open. We've got a new course this week, by the way. It's a fantastic course, Oakdale Golf Club. Here's some basic things about this golf course you need to know. It is a par 72, just under 7,400 yards, so not very long, really, by tour standards. You know, you got water that comes into play on a couple holes, bent grass fairways, Kentucky bluegrass rough that can get a little bit thick, and then you've got bent grass greens. Here's the deal with this golf course, though. If you're looking at scoring, that's what you're going to get. And that's typically what we get at the Canadian Open. We get a lot of scoring. It can be a little bit of a wedge fest. And, you know, a putting contest. And that's what I think you're going to see. So you're going to want to get guys that are aggressive, that score a lot of birdies, that give themselves a lot of birdie chances. This isn't really what we've seen the last few weeks, you know, at the Charles Schwab, at the Memorial, at the PGA Championship, you know, more difficult golf courses. Birdies were harder to come by. It's going to be the opposite this week. I think you're going to see a lot of scoring, and it really brings a lot of people into play, especially when you just look at this golf course. It can be difficult off the tee, but I still think, you know, you're going to see a lot of different guys that are playing well, and that's just what's going to happen. But if we're looking at the top of the board here on the DraftKings Sportsbook, there are some interesting plays for sure, but one for me is not Rory. Now, Rory's at plus 500. Actually, pretty good odds there from DK compared to what I've seen in other books, by a little bit there. And I like that. I like that about Roy, that you're getting a little bit of value, but still, plus 500, too short for me. I'm staying away. Plus, I don't know if Rory, I don't know what he's got right now. You know, he's putting himself in contention, but he's not winning. But there are a few other guys that I really do like. One is Justin Rose at 18-1. He's already won this year. He's been playing fantastic all season long. I think Justin Rose has some upside in this golf tournament. Another one, Tommy Fleetwood. Can't win in America. Okay? But maybe, because we've seen him win all over the world, just not on the PGA Tour. But I think he could win maybe on the PGA Tour in Canada. So I'm going to go with Tommy Fleetwood because I don't want to miss out on him if he wins. I just don't. He's at 20-1. I like him there. Then, kind of dropping down into the middle range a little bit, there's a few guys that I also like in here. You know, I feel like a guy like Adrian Meronk plays all over the world, but has been playing a lot of PGA Tour events lately. He is at 45-1. I like him. Just right there next to him, Nikolai Højgaard, another guy, plays on a lot of different tours, but then, you know, been really focusing on the PGA Tour this season. I like him a lot. He is also 45-1. And then you get to my favorite Canadian this week in the RBC Canadian Open, and that is Adam Svensson. I like him a lot at 50-1. He burned me last week. I was a big fan of Svensson last week, but I'm going back to him, and I think he could be the first Canadian to win this golf tournament in something ridiculous, like 60 years. I don't know if that's the actual number, but it seems like that. And that may be the actual number. So I do like Adam Svensson there at 50-1. Dropping down the board a little bit, kind of your mid to longer range, but staying shorter than 100-1 odds. Couple others that I like. I like Joseph Bramlett. Dude's a scorer, an absolute scorer. You know, he's going to check a lot of boxes here on this golf course. And he's, you know, he can be hit or miss in a lot of different things, but that's okay, because I like how aggressive he is. As a matter of fact, I don't see first-round leader numbers out yet. We're not going to have those yet because of the tee times not being out. But I think Joseph Bramlett could be one of those that, if you're looking at first-round leader bets, Bramlett is one I look at. Sahith Theegala is another one that I would look at. Akshay Bhatia, another one, first-round leaders. That's kind of a sneaky one there, throwing that in there. when DB and I both do this show together, I never really talk those because we don't have the numbers yet. But I'm just telling you, those are some names to keep in mind. But I also like Bramlett as an outright. A couple more in here that I think could be interesting. Brendan Todd, I like him a lot. He's at 80-1. I know he's boring. He's got a boring name. His game's kind of boring. He hits a lot of fairways, hits a lot of greens, but the dude can score. And we've seen him win in events like this. So, and it is a course too, where, I mean, you got to hit a lot of fairways. You got to have some length, but it's not the only thing. If I'm kind of thinking of the ideal player to win at Oakdale, at the Canadian Open, just the course fit, the style of game, it really is kind of Brendan Todd. It is. I mean, again, I think he's not very exciting, but at 80-1, I think he is one that you certainly want to look at and don't look past him this week. If we're looking a little bit longer, I always, you get on a course like this, aggressive, ball striking, Will Gordon, just he's checking boxes there. He really is. He'll frustrate you, but at 100-1, I think Will Gordon has a chance to maybe get his first victory here. Akshay Bhatia is also at 100-1, another super aggressive guy, another guy we've seen flashes of, almost won at the Mexico Open. I think he could have a good week as well. So Akshay at 100-1. If I'm getting a little bit longer, got to go with Mark Hubbard. He's at 110-1, been playing fantastic. I think if I'm looking at top 20s, he's definitely going to be up there. So we'll look at those numbers here in just a second. Mark Hubbard, I think, for a top 20 should be almost a lock. But I do like him as an outright winner as well at 110-1. Just doesn't seem to be getting a whole lot of credit, but he's been playing fantastic all season long. So I do like Mark Hubbard. And then Carson Young is at 150-1, another possible top 10. He's had like 3 top 10s in his last 4 or 5 events. I like Carson Young a lot. I say top 10s, top 20s, I mean. But Carson Young as an outright could be a potential too at 150-1. Outside of that, I don't know if I'm going that much longer. I don't see really anybody that, off the top of my mind is, right there. Maybe you go with a guy like Sam Bennett, who's 250-1. He was the amateur that, we saw a lot at the Masters. Sam Bennett is a fantastic golfer. Maybe he could be like Rose Zhang. Although I don't think Sam Bennett's turned pro yet. Maybe he has. I don't know. Rose Zhang turned pro last week onto the LPGA Tour. She's a all-star, Stanford Cardinal, All-American, whatever you want to say. And then she goes out and wins her first pro event. Sam Bennett could do that, I think. He is 250-1. Let's look at some top 20s, though. And I'll start at kind of the shorter odds. Even money, Tommy Fleetwood, I think that's one that you want to look at for sure. I like Shane Lowry. He's also even money. I think that's a good one. I mentioned Sahith Theegala earlier as a potential first-round leader bet. He's plus 140 as a top 20. Adam Svensson is plus 210. I like that one. Moving on down a little bit to some guys, Joseph Bramlett, plus 275. I think that's a good number. I'm trying to find Mark Hubbard in here. Mark Hubbard is plus 360 to finish in the top 20. With what he has been doing this season, just feels like a really good bet there to get Mark Hubbard at plus 360. I might just, as soon as this show's over, I'm going to go ahead and just hammer that one. I do like Mark Hubbard at that number. Looking at a little bit longer odds, Carson Young, I mentioned earlier, is plus 450 to finish in the top 20. I think that's interesting. Couple more here. I talked about Sam Bennett. He's plus 600. I don't know. I'd probably just go outright on Sam Bennett at plus 250 and say to hell with it. Who knows what's going to happen there? I don't care about plus 650 or whatever on Sam or plus 600. So there you go. That is the top 20s. That's all I got there. And that's all I got this week for DraftKings After Dark. Next week, we will be back for the U.S. Open at LA Country Club. I cannot wait. Just like we have a new golf course this week, we pretty much have a new golf course, even though it's an old golf course, but a new one in the rotation for the U.S. Open. So that's going to be interesting. We're going to have, obviously, a world-class field. Sergio Garcia is going to play. He made it through not the longest day in golf, but he made it through and qualified for the U.S. Open. And, when Sergio's in the field, it's always good. But that's all I got this week. May your screens be green. Bend over your bookie. All the things that we got to do to win money this week. And just have a good one. See ya. Out!